Okay, so let's look at Kha'zix's first outing. He saw that his red was getting invaded, so he decided to take Lee's red as well at the start of the game, while getting some help from his top laner. He also predicted that Lee will take more than just his red, so after he kills the red, he then moves on to kill Lee's raptor camp before turning to his own jungle. He quickly clears his own jungle, and then he makes his way back into the river. We can see that at both times junglers met in the river at the same exact time. This really shows to me the efficiency of their clears and how they could also be very predictable as well. We see that he wards Lee Sin's jungle before he actually goes to gank mid, which was to protect him from a counter gank. Once he realizes that his whole red side has been cleared, he backs. So in the end, what was accomplished in this first round? Not too much, but he was able to stabilize the invade that the other team did, and he was able to put some pressure on mid, but he didn't force a flash or get a kill, so it could have been much better. Okay, let's look at the second outing. Now, we could tell his decision of where to go next based on the events in the previous outing. Since his Krogs were done, he guessed that Lee would clear his blue side, then his whole red side to establish his lead. So Kha'zix knew that if Lee cleared his whole red side, he would now be at a disadvantage due to being behind in CS. So he immediately runs to Lee Sin's Krogs and knows that if Lee is actually there, that means he has not backed yet, and Kha'zix knows he can beat him in a duel since Kha'zix has an item lead now. Kha'zix was able to get a little bit of farm back and actually force Lee to back with a quick burst, but he didn't pick up the kill or secure the large Krog, so this didn't go too well for him. I wondered why he didn't flash to kill Lee, but I believe he knows that his Q doesn't have enough damage yet to actually go through Lee's shield and kill him, so he doesn't want to take the risk, or maybe he's just scared. This shows that we should really know how much damage our characters are able to deal throughout the game and take that into consideration before making plays to avoid those reactive plays that lead to feeding. A great thing to notice is that in the early game, these players have the camp's respawn order in their minds. Since they know what was cleared first, they know what will respawn first, and this dictates their pathing. So we see Kha'zix take Lee's raptors, and then he secures his own right away. But after this, Kha'zix makes a bad choice to just mindlessly go and kill his wolf camp. He just saw Lee's gank happen in mid, and he should have tracked Lee's moving towards his blue side. Knowing that Lee's red side hasn't fully spawned yet, the only good option left for Lee is to invade, and Kha'zix should have prepared for this. He loses the smite fight and loses his life. After seeing this, the way he could have played this different was to have warded before killing the wolves, and during the fight with Lee, he should have backed off and let Kassadin finish Lee for a better trade. At the end of this, he was able to bully Lee a little bit, but didn't really make any impacting plays. Lee was already backing, he already got the big Krug, and he was then able to kill Kha'zix and steal away the wolf camp before dying to Kassadin. Let's look at the third outing. So Kha'zix sees bot lane engaging, and he rushes there to clean up whatever is left over. So while he was dead, we could tell he was deciding where to go next. It was about his red side respawning again and taking Krog camp initially. Then once he saw the fight at bottom, his path changed to cleaning up the fight, netting him one kill. As Kha'zix was fighting bot, he spotted Lee at the top lane, which immediately prompted him to make a cross-map play. So he rushed into Lee's jungle, took Gromp, and saw that a potential collapse was about to happen. So he made a flashy escape. So I was wondering why he rushed past his red buff to the raptors, then it quickly dawned on me he chose a more efficient pathing than I had in my mind. Raptors to red to Krogs. I was thinking red to raptors to the next objective. Deciding your path ahead of time keeps everything moving and the money coming in. So a summary of this section was that Kha'zix was able to pick up a kill and counter jungle Gromp and finish his red side. So let's look at the fourth outing. He finishes his jungler item first, then his boots. I believe he chooses this because he's not super fed, so he is not rushing a dust blade over his jungler item. After shopping, he decides that the best pathing would be to clear his wolves and then perform a lane gank up at the top lane. So he waits for Fiora to engage, then he makes his entrance. This is really great to note. Kha'zix is amazing for lane ganks, and I don't utilize these type of ganks enough in my own gameplay. Looking at the execution of that gank top, we see that he leads in with his R, he re-stealths in the bush, and saves his E for the flash to secure a clean kill. He starts heading mid, but the moment he hears the dragon die, he immediately changes pathing and goes into Lee's jungle to look for camps and get deep vision. He sees that due to his previous gank top, the top tower is now primed to produce that sweet first blood tower gold, but before he actually helps to take the tower, he drops a control ward in the tri-bush to make sure that if someone comes to contest, they will be able to escape. Always protect your back before making plays. That is what I'm starting to learn. We have seen him do it twice now. Kha'zix could have gotten away, but he gave up his life to save Fiora. What a gentle bug. In conclusion to this outing, we can see that he was able to get a nice gank off top, which resulted in first tower gold, and he was able to get some deep vision set down, while protecting his top laner in the retreat and helping Kassadin get a nice double kill on his way out. So this was a very good outing in my mind. On to the fifth outing. I've seen that Moby boots are great with Kha'zix R. There's a lot of synergy between the two. You are able to fully stealth through the whole jungle with the right pathing. This creates very unique flanking paths that only can be attained by champions that have the ability to stealth. So it is a must buy in my book, and I usually change to Tabby or Merc boots in late game if I'm full build and don't really need the mobility anymore. So Kha'zix's path decision looked to be Raptors, then clear his blue side. But he found out his Raptors were gone, and he covered mid for a little, then he went to clear his blue side. Kha'zix saw Lee in mid, so he made a quick check to see what could be done on Lee's red side before killing Scuttle and securing his blue. It goes to show that each time you see the other jungler, you should make a corresponding play that penalizes the other jungler for giving up their location. He makes a quick loop around Lee Sin's jungle. Maybe he's looking for a pick or getting vision. This shows the power of having Moby boots on Kha'zix. But during this time, plays were being made mid and he arrives late into a losing 3v4. But we can learn a little bit about Kha'zix's fighting style from this. You burst and then jump out. Once you get E upgraded, this is just repeated for teamfights. Kha'zix then quickly kills his Raptors. This is telling us that we must keep up our farming and decrease the downtime between fights. I used to sit on the outside of a fight waiting to go in or just to get some poke in, but it's better to clear a camp and re-engage afterwards. That is what we can see happening here after Kha'zix clears his Raptors. He bursts Cat and then uses his R to get out. He goes back in and he tries to E to finish Braum. When in a team fight, I believe Kha'zix needs to be the finisher, jumping around, killing all the low target champions. I should learn this in and out playstyle a lot more for mid-game team fights. Kha'zix makes another red jungle loop looking for picks and finds their top laner, but red team responds quickly and decisively to take Kha'zix down. In this outing, we saw him farm a little and then check the enemy red side. He added some damage to the team fights and that was about it. No real kills secured and no real objectives. Let's go ahead and look at the sixth outing. He chooses to clear his blue side, then heads down to his red side. I believe the reason he didn't head to Lee's red after his blue was because of an infernal dragon being up. He knew that Lee would be around bot for that dragon, but Jin dying and him seeing most of the other champs on the minimap, he assumed Lee was just farming, not taking dragon. Thus Lee was able to sneak the dragon away from blue team. So I believe that when a really important objective is up like an Infernal, we should be focused on that before farming our own jungle, at least having the dragon warded. After the dragon met its demise, there was a little skirmish in Kha'zix's jungle. If we look at the present moment, his choice here shows target prioritization. He runs right past the fight and straight to Cat. He is able to massively burst her to stop her from wiping his whole team. And then he goes back into stealth again to finish Cat. And then he jumps into the enemy dragon pits and gets out clean. This is the assassin style that is needed in mid-game teamfights. He sees that Lee dies and makes a full check of his jungle. This should be ingrained in our minds as a habit that we always perform. Capitalize on people's mistakes. Capitalism is the main thing in this gaming world. Kha'zix was able to get a kill and secure some vision during this outing, but due to not warding, he lost an Infernal for his team. On to the 7th outing. Duskblade acquired. Kha'zix now has a power spike, and I really want to see how that influences his decisions. So he goes for a raptor to a blue side clear. No real use of his power spike. While once again Lee is ahead of the game and is taking an objective, the Herald this time. I believe this game shows that we cannot go into a game with set priorities and never adapt our gameplay based on the momentum of the game. I think Kha'zix was too focused on farming this game and let Lee dictate the pace of the mid game, or the entire game for that matter. So Kha'zix stopped paying attention to the map for a little bit and was spotted entering Lee's jungle. He does his red side loop for a 3rd time, but someone predicted his habitual gameplay and waited for him. I believe this is something that makes a very strong player. Being able to quickly assess your enemy's gameplay style and learn how to predict their actions and counter them throughout the game by adjusting your play style and being ahead of the curve. This was not the best outing. He got his farm in once again. That's the given aspect of this game, right? But he let the objectives go and he repeated his actions, which led to him being ambushed by Cat. He ignored control wards and observer wards, which also played a role in his death. Outing 8. He chooses to go bot and help Fiora, then radically changes course to help mid. At this point, his decisions are starting to look like a low elo player, right? He jumps into a 3v1 and gets blown up. He might have miscalculated his damage. He might have thought he could one-shot and get out. Maybe this is the ego of a high elo player. But he is just not fed enough this game. This outing was just an int. Outing 9. Another quickie. He heads right for Raptors and sees the other team is setting up for another Infernal Drift. This time, he wants to have vision and be ready. But he was unable to actually obtain any vision control and assumed that no one would contest him killing the control ward positioned behind the dragon pit. But it goes to show that assumptions are what get you killed. Lee cues to Kha'zix's face and blows him up. And doing the unpredictable is what it's all about, as Lee demonstrated. As long as it's safe, right? We should try to do the unpredictable. Okay, the last Hoorah. And that's exactly what this was. It was just a Hoorah. I'm dead. The game's over, and he just rams himself into the 5 fed enemies. So I'm not the best at video editing, but I put a lot of time and effort into this one, and I think I'm getting better. So if you did like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel to continue to follow my growth as I prepare for placements on my way to climbing up to Diamond on the Korean server. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.